Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to Shootout. Premier League football is back this weekend, and so is the prediction series. We've had a bit of a hiatus from the series, but the updated scores are on your screen now, and these are the fixtures for this weekend's Premier League games. And we're going to go straight in, Big Eunice, with a London derby. You know, not to belittle the South or the North, it's a London derby. Crystal Palace versus Tottenham Hotspur is the Friday night football. Surely there isn't a world where Tottenham Hotspur can be guaranteed to be top of the table at the end of a Friday night. Surely not. And by the end of the weekend. Please,
this
no.
is why, I'm a South Londoner, so I've got to say this, right? But South London Red and Blue Army are going to turn over Spurs, and it's only double duty for me because it's Tottenham, and I want them to lose, finally. So, going to Selhurst,
okay.
Look, I hope Palace get the job done, but I gotta be realistic. Tottenham are on fire, man. They're on form. They've got something good. Crystal Palace are the sort of ground that you go to and you can fumble. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. But if they get the job done at Selhurst, then after 10 games, they're sitting top with the form that they're in. We've got to start taking Tottenham seriously. Like, that is just the truth. So I'm hoping they don't get 3 points. I'm hoping they lose and Palace get the win. But do I think it's going to happen? I'm not so sure.
But then, what is your score prediction? You can go first this time.
Right.
So is it
No
like
red cards.
you don't want it to happen and you're going to try and go for that? Or are you thinking about what you think's actually going to happen and you're going to try and protect the scores?
No, I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest. I won't say what I want to happen in terms of my predictions. I'll tell you exactly what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be 2-1 win Tottenham, unfortunately.
Okay, I was tempted to say the same, but I'm going to do it for the lads. Going with a 1-1 draw. I just think there's got to be a time, surely soon, where this all changes. So I'm going to say it's going to be this game here. Chelsea-Brentford at Stamford Bridge. We've spoken about the Brentford game in a video. I believe it will be yesterday by the time this video goes out. How do you think we get on here? Surely we're still in that building period, and this has to be nothing other than 3 points for Pochettino's men at the Bridge.
Yeah, we are. And I think with this game, it's important that we take good, form going into it and we get a nice win. We have to. Against Brentford at home, we have to. This should be one of those games where you look at it on the calendar and just think, yeah, it's 3 points. With all due respect to Brentford. But we can't get too ahead of ourselves because Chelsea are Chelsea and we're not exactly playing how we want to play consistently. So I think right now, it's just important to think about 3 points against Brentford and then go from there. I think we should. If we put on the similar performance to how we did against Arsenal in terms of the effectiveness in the first 73 minutes, we should be able to get a good result against Brentford. So I'm not going to go for anything destructive, but I reckon we can get 3 points. I don't see us getting anything less. Fingers crossed. What do you think?
I was about to go and look for a yellow card there. It's been a while, but I don't have any.
No. There's no cards.
No cards on show. I'm going to say 3-0 to Chelsea here. And I'm going to say Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson will score. So if you want to get your dollars on it, you know where to go. 3-0 to Chelsea is what I'm going for, Eunice. I think we get 3 points here and we win comfortably. What's your score?
I'll go one less. I'll go 2-0.
2-0.
Chelsea. But I do want Nicholas Jackson to score. He has to score, man. I need him to hit some form. We need a striker that's going to be banging in goals. So I'm hoping it's going to start against Brentford. But I'm going 2-0.
We hope so. Moving into the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday. Arsenal, Sheffield United. I mean, this is one of the best teams against probably the worst team in the league. Surely this is going to be a hammering, or are Arsenal going to be on like a post-Seville, nice little night out in the south of Spain in October hangover? What do you think?
Even if they came out with 11 headaches, I still think they beat Sheffield United.
They've all gone and done a Grealish, but yet they still win 6-0.
It's simple. They're still going to run 90 minutes and put 6 goals in. Sheffield United are just all over the place, man. I mean, they're on course, like we said before, to be one of the worst teams in the Premier League, if not the worst team in the Premier League ever. So I'm going 4-0 Arsenal. And that's me being kind. I want to say more, but I think Arsenal might come off the gas a little bit. So I reckon 4-0.
Oh, yeah, I think 3, just because I really don't want to give the same scores, because then it puts so much more on the line when we do the Premier League reactions videos. So I'm like, all right, well, am I going to go up a bit? But I normally go too many goals. So I think for this one, I'm going to go down and say 3-0 to Arsenal. Moving into Bournemouth versus Burnley. Why do I feel as though this is a must not lose game for Burnley? Maybe a must win, potentially.
Well, this is the battle of the two teams in the relegation zone, isn't it? So when you're looking at the way that this could go down, Bournemouth bottled it to Wolves. We have Burnley that lost to Brentford. How is this going to go down? I truly don't know. 18th versus 19th. But you're right. I do think Bournemouth will have more capacity going forward to get results later on in the season than how Burnley are looking right now. Burnley are really, really desperate of a win. So away from home, they're probably going to need it more than I think Bournemouth. This is hard to call. This is really, really hard to call, this one. I don't know.
I think I'm going to use what you've just said and say, because it's so hard to call, I'm going to jump in with a 1-1 draw. I can't break these two teams up. I think it's going to be nervous, cagey. I think both teams are going to be like, we can't really lose this. But then you've also got to try and win. And then I just don't think the quality's there. 1-1.
I agree. I want to say a draw, but you know what? I feel like something might break between those two. And I think Bournemouth at home might just nick it. So I'm going 2-1 Bournemouth.
2-1 win for Bournemouth. Okay, that's a good result. Moving into Wolves versus Newcastle. This is a very fascinating game because you've got Wolves, 2 wins, 2 draws in their last 4 league games, looking like a really good side again all of a sudden now. And then you've got Newcastle, who will be so deflated after losing to Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. Will this be one of those matches where we've seen Newcastle electric in the Premier League, but then Champions League nights, an extra game in the week, they're not used to it. And can Wolves use that, playing only once a week, to go and galvanise a result here in this one? What do you think is going to happen between Wolves and Newcastle?
I'm going to say, this is going to sound weird, but thank goodness Newcastle lost at home and not away. Because if they had to travel on top of a loss, I think that would have been a big factor. But the fact that they haven't and they played at home means that from when they played the Champions League up until Saturday, there is at least an element of rest that they can factor in. So I do think it's not going to be an easy game. Wolves are looking much better than they were at the start of the season, that's for sure. But so are Newcastle in the league. And this is where I think, with the Champions League game taken into consideration, I would normally look at this and think, yeah, maybe a draw. But I still think Newcastle might actually take that result as inspiration and really, if they give it their all and they're on form on the day, which is what I think is going to happen, I think they beat Wolves. So I'm going for a narrow 1-0 win. Newcastle.
A 1-0 win. I also think they're going to win too, which, no disrespect to Wolves, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Newcastle win. I think it's going to show their steel, under Eddie Howe. I think he's a great manager, I really do. And I still think when you look at that squad, there's still not really superstars in there, but I think they've got enough quality to come over. West Ham versus Everton. There's very few matches actually this Saturday. Only 2 games at 3 p.m. on Saturday, but West Ham Everton is the 2 p.m. on Sunday. Both of these two sides need a result here, I think. I think for West Ham, they were very, very poor last weekend, got blown away. Everton will feel hard done by, as we said in the Premier Reactions video. But I'm going to throw my score out right now, straight away for this one, and say that there's nothing to split these two teams. I think Everton will grind out a 1-1 draw.
Ooh, you reckon? I think they gave their all against Liverpool. And unfortunately, to come out the result that they did, because I think they deserved more. But that's where I think West Ham might pick up the pieces. And they're at home. And even right now, West Ham are sitting above Chelsea, which is mad. But West Ham, still top of the table. Not top of the table, top half of the table. I think at home they'll get a result against Everton. I just feel that's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm looking at this thinking West Ham are probably favourites, not Everton. West Ham... I'm going to be bold. West Ham 2, Everton 0.
Wow, that is a convincing victory. Sean Dyche does not like the road at the moment. Brighton versus Fulham. Again, Brighton, they're going to want to bounce back. Fulham, struggling to get wins, struggling to get results. I personally just think that Brighton, there's going to be some games where they're just blistering and going to have way too much for teams. And I think against a team like Fulham, they might actually not get as battered against some of the bigger teams because they like to keep possession of the ball. Against Brighton, I don't think they're going to have any of it. And it's not my result first, so I can't say anything. But I do think... I was about to there give myself a booking. I just think Brighton are going to score a fair few goals in this game, and they're going to smash Fulham. What's your thoughts, man?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, look, when you look at the form, Brighton and Fulham are basically on identical form. There's only one win and one draw, which is basically the other way around for the last 5 games. But look, Brighton are playing Ajax in the Europa League, which we still don't know the result of at the time of this recording, right? I think that's going to be a factor. If they get a win against Ajax, right, which right now isn't looking very... Well, Ajax are all over the place, so you'd expect Brighton to win. But with the way Brighton are playing League and Europe, they're just all over the place. I think there's a chance that Fulham might get a result. I don't feel like they'll win, but I reckon that a draw could be what happens on the weekend. So I'm going Brighton 2, Fulham 2.
That's a bold prediction, but it makes a lot of sense because Brighton do concede a lot of goals. I think they're going to win 3-1. I'm writing all the scores down as we go on my screen so that we can actually get the scores all right. That's how these videos work, you know. I think Brighton are going to win 3-1. Moving into Aston Villa versus Luton. Surely, if you're Luton, you're looking at this game and you're thinking, this has got to be the worst away trip ever right now. Aston Villa are absolutely pumping goals at Villa Park.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything different happening in this game here. And I think Luton could get absolutely blown away. But when I'm thinking about my prediction, I'm trying not to do a George Benson nutty, how could he actually think a team's going to score 6 goals in a game kind of prediction. So I'm going to just be sensible and say 4-0 to Aston Villa, I think.
Oh man,
Toning it down.
You know what? I agree with this. Aston Villa. It's not even a case of Luton. I think Luton will come somewhat decent for their level and for what they're doing. They managed to get, claw back a draw against Forest, and that's not what was expected. So they've got at least something. But Aston Villa are flying, and I think at home that's what's going to be the factor here. So I reckon Aston Villa, comfortable win. I'm going to go 3-0. I won't go 4. I think Aston Villa might tone it down a little bit towards the end. If they do end up being 2-0 up or something, I think they'll calm down.
I love how you're saying that as if to say, we're going to be nice. We're going to tone it down a bit.
Yeah. Let's save some energy, lads. Let's not go all the way. Let's not go all crazy. But I'm going 3-0 Villa.
3-0 Villa. All right, there's another game here that potentially, on paper, you could look at and be like, this could be a goal fest for the home team again. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. We said it earlier in the week. I am not really still convinced by Liverpool at all. And with Forest, it's kind of a bit of a muchness as well at the moment, considering the money that they've spent. I thought maybe a bit more consistency would be the case. But Liverpool have looked like they're struggling a little bit in these kind of games this season. How do you think this one's going to play out?
Yeah, they have. And they don't look like a team that's going to be flying to compete at the top of the table. But they still somehow claw some results even when they're not playing brilliantly. And I think that's what's ticking them over. Nottingham Forest are a team that I don't expect to come to Anfield and get a job done, though, I'll be honest. So this is where I'm looking at this and thinking Liverpool, I think, will have not a straightforward day at the office, but I feel like they'll take over once again. It looks like they've got maybe a couple of issues in midfield. They're not firing up top as they can, but they are still firing enough. And defensively, I think Nottingham Forest won't put that much pressure on them, which is why I'm thinking they're going to get a narrow win. So I'm going to go 2-0 win, Liverpool.
2-0 win. I was going to say 2-0, but then now, just to keep my... it's okay. We're allowed to say the same results to one another. Just for the record, for those of you in the comments who are like, just say what you think, George. Don't worry about Eunice. Don't worry about George, Eunice. I'm just going to say that Forest are going to get a goal here. I'm going to go with a 2-1 home win. And again, it's just like one of those Liverpool games that is... Sorry, it just came in. 1 second. One of those games where I just think they will be able to just do enough. And they're probably going to have a lot of chances. Could be another good game for the Forest goalkeeper. Someone just walked in. I was like, oh, hello. 2-1 win for Liverpool. So we move into the biggest game of the weekend by a long way. Manchester United versus Manchester City. A Manchester derby which can have repercussions all over the flipping gaff. Which could be earthquakes coming from this game. This could be Man United fans just burying their heads in the sand and thinking, it's okay because we scraped a few results recently. Man City could be like, do we even care that we're trying to defend a treble right now because we've just lost to this rubbish? Is there any world where Man United can somehow keep going with this form of like, we're not very good, but we keep on winning? Like, how does this one go down?
You know, if you'd asked me last season, I'd look at this and think, yeah, you know what? On the day, because it's a derby and anything can happen, on the day at Old Trafford with the crowd, yeah, maybe Man United might shock everyone, might get a surprise here. But now, the way that Man United are playing, with the results that they're getting and the way that they're getting those results, the instability at the club, on and off the pitch, I see this going only one way, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a complete battering. I ain't going to say City are going to win 6-0 or anything like that, but I don't think he'll be too far off. And I think that I do think City will have a dominant performance, a straightforward win. United won't test them as much as United fans will want to see their team test them. And that's where I don't see United getting any result here, I'll be honest.
Me neither. I'm going to throw my prediction out there now. I don't know why, but I think this is actually going to look closer than it is. Is my go first here? I was a bit taken aback there a second ago. Is it my result? Okay, I'm going to say Man City are going to win 3-2. I think somehow Scott McTominay is going to like almost do a madness again. He's probably going to like score a couple of late goals, but then it's like not enough. And it will be an Onana mistake that will allow a tap-in for Alvarez to score the winner. Well, will look like the winner. You know, I think City will go 3-0 up and then it'll finish 3-2.
I'm gonna do a Mourinho here. I'm gonna quote.
Here we go.
I'm gonna quote a proverb. It's not your wedding day every day. So Scott McTominay is not going to be scoring every single week. And that reason, I think that Man United are going to get wrecked.
They need the Scottish Tartan Army.
I'm going to go 4-1 Man City.
4-1? You're going for an absolute capitulation. Yep. Okay. Well, it looks to me like a feast of football again. This is why we bloody love this sport, you know. We've got goals galore. Even from Eunice today, he's throwing out a couple of 4-goal thrillers in there. As always with this series, let us know your predictions for this weekend's Premier League games in the comments down below. The thing that I'm loving the most about this one this week is that we actually both believe that Chelsea are going to win a football match, which is magnificent that we can say that with some confidence. Any final words, Eunice, for the people of the internet, of the Shootout channel, before we part ways once again?
No, we'll be here for the review of all the games, obviously, and we go through our predictions and see where we were right or wrong. And you guys as well, let us know yours in the comments. But, hopefully Chelsea do get a win. Hopefully we see some good games this weekend. And hopefully Palace do us a favour against Tottenham. So come on the Palace.
Up the Palace.
Thank you all
for
watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, up the Eagles. And don't forget to subscribe. See you a lot later.